This guy thought he was getting 7-Eleven dunks for an absolute steal, but he ended up getting some dunks by Mateo. More Jordan 1 off-whites have been confirmed, whatever that means for 2025, which has sparked more rumors that we could be getting this shoe in 2025. Jerry Lorenzo has opened up about the shortcomings of his recent collab with Adidas, and Nike are going to be scaling back retros moving forward. All of these stories and plenty more in this week's Sneaker Wrap. Hello everybody, it is me, Jordan Young, and every Saturday I do these weekly sneaker news recap videos where we comb over some of the biggest sneaker news stories from the past week and look ahead to some exciting sneaker releases. If you guys want to keep up with me in real time, make sure that you go over and drop me a follow on IG and on TikTok. And yeah, I nearly forgot, we also have a gay old time here too. We're going to start things off like we always do by recapping this week's biggest sneaker releases. Here in the UK, we had the release of the Nike Air Max 95 Erosions. This was a Sneakers app exclusive, and if you guys want to check out my review on these, which I posted yesterday, be sure to click on the video above. Also had the Jason Tatum 3 as well as the Air Jordan 1 Welcome to the Garden pack, which went down in person at Concepts. The Jordan 1 Low Howard University PE colorway, which I think are still pretty much sat in a full-size run on the Nike Sneakers app. Also had the DTLR New Balance 1906R Starry Night collab. But the most hyped up of the release, or the most limited release of the week, were no doubt these, the Nike Dunk Low University of Oregon What the Ducks. There was a home colorway and there was an away colorway. Earlier on in the week, this release was getting a lot of coverage because of the enormous crowds that had amassed outside of Flight Club New York. Cops had to be called, the release ended up getting shut down, and Flight Club ended up just cancelling the whole in-person first come first serve raffle release for an online release. And this has resurrected debates and chatter around the idea of doing first come first serve for hyped up sneakers. A lot of us older heads are quite nostalgic over the times spent camping overnight for hyped up shoes back in the day. But given the competitive nature of a lot of these drops these days, as well as the enmity and aggression that can creep up, it doesn't seem like sneakerheads in 2024 can really be trusted to act in a civil manner camping out these days. And so I wonder what you guys think. Do you guys think camping or first come first serve sneaker releases for hyped up models has any place in the future of sneaker culture, or is this a relic of the past that should be kept there in order to maintain safety? Feel free to let me know down below, and feel free to let me know if you guys picked up anything this week. Rightio, let's get into the news. I want to start off by talking about this interview that featured on the Complex website where Jerry Lorenzo was sat down and spoken to about his collaboration with Adidas. Now, I don't need to tell you that the Adidas Fear of God Athletics collaboration has been pretty lukewarmly received. It's safe to say it didn't go down, I think, as they would have hoped, and it didn't go down as a lot of us had maybe expected, given Jerry's track record, particularly with Nike. Now, in the interview, I've got to give credit to Jerry because he does appear open and honest about the shortcomings with the collaboration. He describes his signing of the contract with Adidas giving way to an almost immediate announcement that there were going to be things coming. He does stand by the product that he made, but I feel like there's still a little bit of confusion out there with regard to the placement of the product, because this was supposed to be an athletics performance line wherein all of the garments were worn in some kind of an athletic context, whereas the stuff that Jerry produced was very much for the editorial or for the runway or for the streets. And so there was a lack of compatibility, it seems, between what they wanted to give us and what Jerry ended up making. The way that Jerry sounds in this interview sounds very much like it's coming to an end, the relationship between Adidas and Fear of God. Some people out there are speculating that maybe Jerry leaves Adidas in 2025 and goes back again to partner with Nike. And so what do you guys think? Would you guys be up for seeing Jerry Lorenzo and Fear of God team back up with the Swish, or should Jerry just focus on doing his own thing and maybe look to align with some of the smaller upcoming brands? That's kind of where I think he should go, but feel free to sound off and let me know what you think. Next up, Nike are going to be producing fewer Dunks, fewer Jordan 1s, and fewer Air Force 1s moving forward. And I know you're probably sat there like I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, that's about time. In an interesting article penned by Brendan Dunn this week, shout out to the bros over at Complex, he spoke to Foot Locker EVP and CCO Frank Bracken, who was speaking about the importance of brick and mortar retail stores in 2024 and how they have been enjoying a bit of a resurgence in the past year, getting back to almost pre-pandemic levels. Foot Locker this year is of course celebrating its 50th anniversary, and this past August they opened up another flagship New York retail location on 34th Street, which has this whole immersive sneaker experience where you can take a 3D image of your foot, you can test your vertical, you can get a custom lace job done on your shoes. According to Frank Bracken, the demise of the mall, the demise of physical retail, was greatly exaggerated, no doubt referencing the immediate post-pandemic strategy of Nike to go for a more DTC model and essentially cut out large swathes of product allocation to retail wholesale partners like Foot Locker. Whilst Nike and Foot Locker have re-strengthened ties, and Nike are once again acknowledging the importance of these types of retail partners, the article does go on to say that Nike are looking to reduce the number of Nike Dunks that they've been making, as well as Jordan 1s, as well as Air Force 1s moving forward. And so we should be seeing less of these models moving forward. I'd rather see Nike come out with some new, exciting, innovative product rather than just relying on the same old, same old. What do you guys think about that? Feel free to let me know. This Reddit user went onto StockX and bought what he thought were the 711 Nike SB Dunk lows for like 620 bucks, only to receive a pair of Nike Dunk by Use by a guy called Mateo, and the entire internet has been reacting to this. It's kind of a funny story. It's also an interesting story as well, because according to the receipts, or at least according to the printouts that we're given by the buyer here, the product image does indeed show a pair of the 711 Dunks. Now, if you guys don't know what the 711 Dunks are, it's a sample pair only. These go for crazy money in the resale market. This pair is distinguishable because it features the little 711 logo on the back quarter of the shoe. Now, a few years ago when the Nike Dunk by You option came in, this was like one of the first color options that a lot of people were going for because of how nice the color blocking is and because of how expensive the sample pair was in the resale market. But people have been wondering, how did StockX authenticate this pair or verify this pair and then send them through to the buyer? On the flip side, the buyer should have known that $620 was never going to be enough to cop a legitimate pair of the 711 Dunks. So it's a little bit of an interesting one. I'm sure there's a legitimate, honest mistake that's been made somewhere, but yeah, imagine paying 620 bucks for some Nike Dunk by Use. This other story came to light this week as well, and it might be a bit of an older story. Maybe someone out there can clarify down below in the comments, but this guy attempted to construct an entire house using the Supreme bricks. Do you guys remember the Supreme bricks from all those years ago, which sold for like 30 bucks each, and these were even like reselling at the time, which was a real head scratcher. And after accumulating something like 1,800 bricks, he abandoned the project, realizing it was far from sufficient for the build. One Reddit user has estimated that in order to make a 2,400 square foot house, you'd actually require something more like 117,000 bricks, which would amount to $4.7 million in bricks. And I'm just wondering why the guy didn't look into this a little bit more before he started buying up these literal bricks. Surely an email or an inquiry into the amount of bricks that were originally produced by Supreme would have been a good thing to look into before undertaking this escapade. So yeah, that is an absolute L for this guy. He's now stuck with 1,800 bricks that need to be sold. I still think you could probably make something nice, maybe like a small house or like a fireplace or a dog's kennel or something. You could probably still make something pretty decent, but yeah, that is a huge L. Right, let's dive into the sneaker rumor mill, because there are some hot rumors that have been doing the rounds over the past week. First and foremost, we have confirmed, and I'm going to put quotation marks up there every time I say confirmed, that we are going to be getting the Air Jordan 1 High Union collab, the Varsity Reds, and the Shadow, or the Chicago/Shadow sneaker. These are supposed to be coming out next February. Probably a little bit late, to be honest. I mean, imagine if they'd piggybacked on the back of the success of these here. They would have hit way different. Now, bringing these out kind of feels like they're trying to rake up some of the love from the past in order to generate some hype in the moments. I don't know. Still want them though. The next confirmed rumor is that Off-White and Nike are going to be bringing out another collab on the Jordan 1 high. So a little bit like the Union 1 highs, we're also going to be getting another Jordan 1 Off-White high. The colorway has not been confirmed. There is a style code apparently, so maybe that's what's led to this rumor being confirmed. But some people have been theorizing that maybe the pair that could come out would be based on the original sample that Virgil made back in the day, which I don't think makes a lot of sense because it's predominantly white. I mean, these age a little bit like someone that did a Diddy collab back in the day. These look trash after a few wears. I think it would make more sense for us to get something like the Canaries. They're out there, there's samples, they've already got the molds, presumably they've already got access to the materials. Just give us the Canaries, I think we'll be quite happy. And of course, whenever you get some Nike Off-White rumors, particularly ones that have been quote unquote confirmed, this shoe crops up. Time and again, the rumors are once again swirling around that the Air Jordan 4 Off-White breads are going to be releasing sometime in 2025. And at this point, they should just do it. They should just stop messing around and teasing us. Just give them to us. This rumor has apparently been corroborated or maybe even sparked off by this guy here, AK, Fit Dad AK. I have no idea who Fit Dad AK is. I'm not sure if he's an authority on sneakers, but his tweet apparently has been enough to spark this rumor. So let's see what happens. Next up, we're hearing rumors that the Black Tongue Fire Red Air Jordan 5 is expected in the fall of 2025, and I'm a big fan of this colorway, big fan of the Black Tongue version as well. Silver Tongue's also goated, but the Black Tongue, for the hardcore collectors or maybe the older heads out there, will recognize these as very tough. And if they come with the OG shape and they're not quite so bulky as more recent Air Jordan 5s, particularly around the ankle collar, if they've got the 23 stitched into the side, and of course, as long as they've got the Nike Air on the back, I am going to be good with these. So these and the grapes for next year, definitely looking like a really good year for Air Jordan 5s. We've had one version of the French Blue Jordan 12 cancelled, and then the correct version of the French Blue 12 announced in its place, which I think is a great thing. Previously, we were expecting this French Blue 12 that has this little red tab on the side of the shoe, which it's like, bro, what are you doing? Why include that feature? I feel like it's probably come from the outsole and then it's just been transposed onto the top for a little bit of a different vibe, but this is what we want. We want the French Blue 12s, which are a retro from 2004 and were made famous by Kobe, where he wore them when he went off one game. And it's a legendary colorway. You can see from this picture that little bit of red in the outsole that I was talking about. So a good bit of news here, ditching these retro wannabes and just giving us the classics. And we're now hearing regarding the Air Jordan 1 Black Toe Reimagined that the release date is going to be February. Now, February is looking crazy for next year. There's a whole bunch of hyped up sneakers that are going to be dropping in February, particularly from Nike and Jordan brand. And so I'm not sure how much faith I would be investing into all of these different dates for February, because if they completely overstack the month, it could have the opposite effect where it's just like saturation central. Now, I know that there are still stores out there currently that have pairs of these on sites. You'll have probably seen a whole bunch of early reviews out there doing the rounds. And so these sneakers are out there, whether or not it's a staggered release or whether or not shops are going to be told to hold fire on their stock until Feb remains to be seen. But the latest with this shoe is that they're supposed to be dropping in Feb next year. Nikola Jokic is getting his very own signature sneaker, probably about time, and here they are. No. I'm only joking. He's teaming up with 361 Degrees, which is a crazy cool name, man. You went around a whole circle and then one extra degree. And the shoes look pretty cool, although they do kind of fit the modern day basketball performance shoe archetype. They kind of look like a Curry low, or they look like a Doncic shoe, or they look like a Tatum Jordan. It's very much the same type of shoe that we're seeing these days. Another person that's going to be getting their very own sneaker is a rapper called Westside Gun, and I don't know who Westside Gun is. Showing my age, showing my hip hop interests. I'm out here really still listening to bands like The Roots, but I'm going to assume that Westside Gun is very popular and has a lot of clout in the game. because he is joining up with Saucony to bring us a Pro Grid Omni 9 as well as a Pro Grid Triumph 4. And in this video here, you can see him sitting down with someone from Saucony who are essentially taking him through the different panels of the shoes or the different aspects of the shoe that he can essentially customize or personalize or whatever. It is feeling a little bit like these sneaker collabs are taking the guise of just sitting down and doing essentially what could be called a Nike ID, and then taking that ID and then mass producing it. Now, I know that's maybe a little bit of an overly simplistic way to look at it, but it's what I see when I see this video here. Now, Saucony have been making some really good inroads in sneaker culture thanks to their highly successful collabs with J-Tips. And I wonder if this collab here with Westside Gun, even though I don't know who he is, could be a kind of momentum keeper for Saucony, who are just edging into the cooler areas of sneaker culture right now. No information on the release dates has been divulged just yet, but I'll keep you guys updated, don't worry. Former Yeezy designer Dingjun Zhang has debuted a brand new Adidas sneaker called the Koza. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but yeah, what do you guys think of these, man? This is a brand new model. You can see some pretty familiar design language in the uppers of these sneakers. You've got a few different colorways. He isn't just doing the Koza, he even has his very own Samba coming out. There's a couple of different colorways as well. My only gripe, I think, with these Kozas is that these are going to be priced pretty high, 350 USD. Now, I know for a lot of sneakerheads out there, this is going to seem like a gigantic waste of money. But I think there is a market out there for these types of designs, which kind of have a little bit of that Y3 aesthetic or that certain fashion MF type vibe about them. These are going to be releasing this upcoming week on October the 18th. If you are interested, and if you are interested, keep an eye on the Adidas Confirmed app. Very soon, you are going to be able to buy your dog their very own Crocs. If you're someone that likes wearing Crocs and you want to go out for a nice walk in matching Crocs with your dog, then yeah, October the 23rd, you're going to be able to cop a pair for 50 bucks, man. 50 bucks. How are your dog's Crocs gonna be the same price, if not even more than your own? Look, according to these pictures, these dogs look pretty happy wearing them, but you can be guaranteed if I tried to put these Crocs on my dogs, they would not be having it. It would take longer to get the Crocs on than it would be to just do the walk without them. A couple of different colorways I'm seeing, pink and a green. And listen, I'm sure there are some reasons that would justify putting these on your dog, but me personally, I'll be skipping out on these. Right, let's talk about some upcoming sneakers. I wanted to talk about these. The Jordan 11 Bred Velvets are coming this holiday season, and I know there's probably going to be a few of you guys out there that like these, but I just can't get down with them. I'm not hating on velvets. I think it is an absolutely fine material to have for a tracksuit, for example. Love a velvet tracksuit. But on the Jordan 11s, I don't know, man, it seems a little bit sacrilegious. It seems almost blasphemous to me to change such an important material on a sneaker, that being the patent leather and the mesh upper that is synonymous with the Jordan 11. So I personally am not feeling these. I think they've disrespected the playoffs in this instance, in my opinion, but I'm sure there will be those of you out there that like them. Chris Brown's Nightcrawler slides are going to be releasing very soon. For some reason, Chris Brown and Nightcrawler, that whole name seems to be a little bit on the nose, a little bit too honest. I don't know. Anyway, these are the Nami slides. Coming out October the 18th. It's a collab between Chris Brown and this fashion entrepreneur dude called John Dean. And these slides have that sort of trending 3D printed aesthetic about them. They draw inspiration from parametric architecture, which you guys might recognize in this design, evident in these sort of wave-like textures, which embody the slide's namesake because Nami in Japanese means wave. And they're going to be $100. They're going to be available on the oracles.xyz website October the 18th. One of Adidas's most successful collaborative partners of the modern day has got to be Wales Bonner, and there is an entire fall collection releasing this month. We have a rework on the Samba. There are two versions of the Samba, and there's also a Superstar which looks really good as well. These things are going to be priced a little bit higher $300, $280, and $250 respectively. And the Kobe 5 draft day is expected to return in 2025. I don't know what they mean when they say expected. Is it rumored? Or do we have an SKU, or what's going on? I don't know, but this is a pretty cool colorway, and it does reveal a pretty interesting part of Kobe history that not everybody knows or not everybody can remember, and that is that Kobe was actually drafted not by the Lakers but by the Charlotte Hornets, and that colorway of the Charlotte Hornets uniform is represented on this Kobe 5 draft day sneaker. And speaking of Kobe's, we've had some on-foot shots of the all-white or the all-star Kobe 6, which are set to drop next year. These look nice, man. These look clean. We've had our first look for some time at the Nike Air Zoom Spiridon fragment collab, and this quote-unquote first look is actually worse than the first look that we had about a year ago now. I actually predicted that this year would be potentially a big year for the Spiridon, given that we first saw this shoe like a year ago, but it just has not happened. It has not materialized from Nike. I do feel like they have missed the trick bringing back something like this to the masses. This collab would be hot, even though it's very plain, very basic. These images have the sneaker looking pretty average, I want to say, not particularly enticing, but I do feel also like it's been a little bit late coming, and sometimes when you leave something to just fester and you let the build up just drag on and on and on, a little bit like with the Adidas Fear of God stuff, by the time it comes around, people are already over it. Rightio, let's finish off by talking about some of the sneakers that you might be interested in this upcoming week. On October the 15th, you have the Simpsons Adidas Rivalry Low, the Werewolf Flanders sneakers, $130. I'm only mentioning these because Werewolf Flanders is legendary, and this color blocking actually works really well with the greens, the browns, and the pinks, the Flanders getup. I think these look really dope. Also on October the 15th, you have the Air Max 90 Skeptors, the Air Max 90 Celeries, they're being called. October the 16th, Awake New York have their next Airship collab. This time it's in a blue and a gray swoosh rather than a red. October the 16th, something for the more fashion MFs out there. You have the Asics Gel Terrain collab with Cecile Bonson. October the 17th, a couple of bangers. You've got the Air Max 186 Cosmic Clay, a sneaker inspired by Tinker's early sketches of the Air Max 1. And on the same day, you have the Kobe 5 X-Ray. Also got some Stussy Chucks on October the 17th. And then on October the 18th, you have the Gallery Department and UGG collection. If you want to get in the good books with the misses and you want to spunk some money doing so, maybe look at that collection there. It's mainly denim. And then on October the 18th, you have the Bricks and Wood New Balance 1906U. And then, as I mentioned before, the Chris Brown slides on the 18th. And then on the 19th, you have the Nike Dunk Low Co.jp, the What the release. This should be on the Nike Sneakers app. Pairs should load maybe midweek or something like that. And yeah, this is a really dope release, really cool retro, unless of course you overpaid for the last pair. And that's about it for this week's releases. Some pretty cool sneakers in amongst that lot. If you have your eyes on anything, feel free to let me know down below. And that is it for this week's sneaker wrap. Thank you guys as always for taking the time to watch the video. Do me a favor and hit the like button before you bounce. I would really appreciate it. And have yourselves a lovely day. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care for now, and peace.
I know you like the way I pop out. Let's go hit Lennox. Another